he talks about God as a metaphor for a transcendent mystery that lies beyond all human categories of thought, language, and logic, including the concept of being and non-being. If we trying to unpack what he's saying, okay, when we use this term God, and he's doing this in a comparative religion sort of way, where he's looking at all different cultures, ancient and modern, and the way people have talked about some concept of God, he says what they have in common is they're all talking about a transcendent mystery. In other words, you can't fully understand it, what we're talking about. And it really goes beyond our limited categories, as he says, of thought, language, and logic. So it's beyond all of that. And then, of course, the thing that I found really compelling, it's even beyond the concept of being and non-being.
So that's existing or not existing.
Yeah, he's like, we tend to think, well, does it exist or does it not exist?
Yeah.
And he says it's beyond those two simple categories. Like, well, is God real or is God not real? And it's like it's a discussion that goes beyond that question. It just transcends it. So in his work, I think he's recognizing something positive for us to realize, well, if he's right, then, well, of course my ideas of God are going to have to change.
Yeah.
Because ultimately what I'm trying to move toward transcends my categories and my thoughts and even my language. I don't have language to describe it. So all my language is falling short. All my thinking's falling short.
It's almost like the words, the thoughts, the concepts are just pointing at something, right? And maybe you're getting a piece of it. And then at some point, okay, this word or this concept is not working. So there's something else, maybe another aspect of this that I have to be able to receive or see.
Yeah. So one of the things, we were saying is, okay, so God is not what I think. Like my thoughts are not an accurate description of God. I'm thinking about God, but if I'm identifying God with my thoughts in kind of a literal one-to-one way, then I'm missing the fact that this is my attempt to move towards a transcendent reality, a mystery. So the language, the concepts point me in a direction, but don't take me fully there.
Yeah, and this is closely related to just our lived experience. Like reality itself and my perception of reality is two different things.
Right.
I mean, there's some connection, of course, especially if I'm in my right mind. And I'm not always in my right mind. I might be upset or hungry. So then my perception of reality is clouded a little bit. And I might be maybe unhealthy sometimes mentally. So then I don't see things as they are. And the same is true for how we relate to God.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way you brought that up. Yeah. The difference between perception and reality. It's why you can have an incident happen and, several people witnessed it and they all have a different take on what happened, but they all saw the same thing.
Exactly.
But perception enters into it.
We see where we see because of where we are.
Yeah. Because of, the questions I have or my state of mind at the time. It depends on what I see. So we were kind of moving on thinking then, okay, well, what if my ideas are changing? What if kind of my picture of God is falling apart in some ways? What does that mean? Of course, we're suggesting, well, that doesn't mean like God ceases. There is, that there's no point in thinking about a divine reality or some sort of transcendent or ultimate concern or ground of our being.
You still need somewhere to place your hat.
Yeah. You've got to have, if God is another way of talking about the reality in which we are and find our existence, then it's not saying, well, there is nothing. It's more like, well, the way I was thinking about it, the way I put it together in my head, that's now apparently insufficient, and I have to move on in some ways, have to let it grow.